Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving straight into day 2, and we are aggressively deconstructing a psychological trap that catches, well, almost all of us completely off guard. It's something called the permission trap. We're going to look at the sheer absurdity of outsourcing your self-worth to automated corporate rejection systems. Look, we've all been there, right? You refresh your inbox, you see that automated do not reply rejection email, and boom, suddenly your whole day is completely ruined. It feels incredibly personal. But today, we're going to dismantle the illusion that a random company code or some generic template response holds absolutely any authority over your actual capability. Let's get right into it. I want you to look right at the screen and ask yourself this one fundamental question. Who gave them the right? Seriously, who gave them the absolute authority to tell you who you are, what you're worth, and exactly what you're capable of achieving? When you think about the unadulterated absurdity of what we do in the modern job market, it's wild. We spend years honing our craft, mastering these incredibly complex problems, bleeding for our careers. And then what? We turn around and grant absolute authority to a digital gatekeeper. Or maybe a 20-something recruiter who's just overwhelmed with thousands of resumes and has literally never spent a single day sweating in your specific arena. We let them decide if we're talented. When you really step back and look at it, it is mathematical insanity. We are trusting our entire identity to a process that barely even knows our name. And that illustrates the core of the problem here, outsourcing psychological stability. We've really got to confront the harsh reality of this. Think about that intense anxiety of waiting for that generic HR email to drop into your inbox, the constant refreshing, that sudden massive spike in your heart rate when you finally see a message pop up. It is literally like walking through the world holding out your hands, begging a fundamentally broken system to hand you a gold star and give you permission to feel proud of your own skills. When you do that, you're letting an external, faceless entity write your internal identity. And it just puts you in this passive, subordinate position before you've even had a chance to open your mouth. So, by definition, the permission trap is the act of surrendering your internal self-worth and identity to the validation of external digital gatekeepers. Let's break down exactly what happens in the real world when this trap snaps shut. You spend hours, maybe days, tailoring your resume. You write the perfect cover letter. You hit submit. A week goes by. Then you get it. Thank you for your application. Unfortunately, we've decided to move forward with other candidates. And instantly, within 3 seconds, you allow that generic notification to trigger this massive wave of shame. You start questioning your intelligence, your education, your background, every life choice you've made. You fall right into the trap. You just allowed a pre-written template to tell you that you aren't good enough. We need to completely expose this illusion. And to do that, let's contrast the two players in this game, the machine versus the human. On one side, you have the machine, an applicant tracking system, an HR portal. It is merely a piece of software. It filters for keyword strings, formatting rules, strict parameters set up by someone who honestly might not even fully understand the job they're hiring for. On the other side, you have the human, you, a biological human being who possesses raw hunger, nuance, and a proven, tangible history of execution. The trap closes the second you treat that mechanical filter as if it's some omniscient, divine judge of your character. It's not a judge. It's just a crude sorting mechanism. Let's systematically dismantle the authority of that algorithm by looking exactly at its blind spots, the things it is fundamentally incapable of measuring. First, a keyword filter cannot filter for human execution. Second, it cannot measure raw hunger or your adaptability under pressure. Third, it absolutely cannot calculate unstoppable resilience. It has no idea that you were the one holding the team together during a massive crisis last year, or that you refuse to quit when a project goes sideways. And finally, an algorithm cannot see your soul. It is fundamentally incapable of measuring the soft skills, the emotional intelligence, and the grit that actually drives success. It literally only knows if you typed project management instead of managed projects. That's it. An algorithm cannot see your soul, yet you are letting it dictate your mood. I want to deliver that stark reality with all the dry, crisp intensity it deserves. Just let that dead pause sit with you for a second. Think about the sheer absurdity of this situation. A literal line of code running on some dusty server farm in the middle of nowhere, looking for matching text strings, is currently determining your daily emotional state and your baseline confidence level. You are letting a piece of math that doesn't breathe, doesn't think, and doesn't struggle tell you whether or not you have value as a professional. No way. Okay, it is time to pivot our energy right now toward absolute autonomy. You have to stop asking for permission. True confidence is not the absence of rejection. It's not about winning every single interview or getting a yes on every application. True confidence is the absolute refusal to let external validation form your self-image. You must stop asking a line of code for permission to believe in yourself. You do not need their corporate structure, their stamp of approval, or their shiny job title to stand tall and know exactly what you bring to the table. The entire game shifts the moment you decide your worth is simply non-negotiable. So how do we actively fix this? Nature abhors a vacuum, right? So we have to replace that corporate illusion with a much stronger concept. Enter the internal ledger. This is a self-contained psychological record of your intrinsic worth, and it is based exclusively on your history of survival and execution. We are officially ending the habit of measuring your worth by an employment status, because let's face it, that's an outcome you do not fully control, subject to the random whims of the market. Instead, you measure your worth exclusively by your internal track record, the things you have actually done, the problems you've actually solved. Now, here's the actionable part. You have to actively build this ledger in reality. I'm talking about literally writing it down in a physical journal or a secure document. Step 1. Log the brilliant strategies you wrote that actually move the needle. Step 2. Log the complex crises you managed when everyone else was panicking and thought the whole thing was going to collapse. Step 3. Log the late nights you survived and the deep resilience you built over years of grinding. You survived every single one of those challenges, and you executed. Guess what? Those victories do not require a corporate stamp of approval to be real. They are historical facts, and they belong to you. That capability belongs to you. It is embedded in your neural pathways. I really want to reinforce this. Your accumulated strategic brilliance, your intellect, the discipline you've forged over countless hours of practice, it travels with you wherever you go. No HR department can liquidate it. No massive corporate layoff can strip it from your permanent record. It absolutely cannot be erased by an inbox notification or some sudden shift in the macroeconomic climate. When you walk into a room, all of that history, all of that undeniable power walks right in with you. I want you to shift your entire posture right now as you listen to this. You are the asset. Let's establish something unshakable right here, right now. Companies are not doing you a favor by handing you a salary or granting you an interview. Job hunting is a calculated, mutual alignment between two distinct entities. Listen, companies are actively trying to acquire an engine that generates order out of chaos. Without human talent, without your highly specific ability to execute and innovate, their towering corporate glass building is literally just empty concrete. Their highly touted infrastructure, just dead software. Act like the prize you are because you are the asset. Now, let's completely redefine what a no actually is. A rejection is not an execution of your character. It is not a verdict on your soul or some cosmic sign that you're incompetent. A rejection is just a collection of digital pixels on a screen. It is simply a data point. All it means is that at a specific millisecond, under a company's specific internal constraints, there was a mismatch. That's it. Maybe they suddenly lost budget. Maybe they decided to pivot internally. Actually, maybe they just hired the boss's nephew, and the whole posting was just a legal formality. It's a data point reflecting their situation, nothing more. So the next time you open your inbox and see a generic rejection email, I am commanding you to look at it as exactly what it is, a mechanical system error. Do not internalize it. Do not let it ruin your morning coffee. It is a mechanical error from a system that simply cannot comprehend your scale or your scope. It's like mud trying to process the brilliant light of a diamond. They just didn't have the clarity, the time, or the strategic vision to look past their rigid little checklist of buzzwords. They erred out. You didn't. Let's start bringing this home. Contrast that dead, rigid software with the reality of your biology. You are biological, conscious, and relentless. The system you're out there begging for permission from, it's mechanical, it's rigid, it's programmed, operating purely in basic binary logic, severely limited in its vision. But you are a self-contained unit of absolute capability. You are capable of immense adaptation, creative problem solving. You are living, breathing power. You have the capacity to grow, to pivot, to conquer entirely new domains, while that system just remains completely trapped in its own code. System error. Say it out loud the next time it happens. System error. The system is broken, not you. A corporate gatekeeper missing out on your talent is an error in their own infrastructure. It's a massive flaw in their acquisition pipeline. Honestly, their loss is simply an economic redirection. It's pushing your massive energy, your intense focus, and your talent toward a platform, a project, or a team that can actually handle your scale.
Think of it as a filter protecting you from environments that are just way too small for your ambition. You are sovereign. We are building a mental fortress inside your mind today, an absolute sanctuary of certainty. Your worth is not up for public debate anymore. It is settled. Let the market rage outside, let the recruiters send their automated emails all day long, let the algorithms do whatever it is they're programmed to do. Because inside your mind, you are completely unbothered. You have stripped the external world of its power to dictate how you feel about yourself. Your internal ledger is locked, it's secured, and it is growing every single day. Which brings us to our final provocative challenge for today. Will you ask for permission or will you rule your own mind? The next time that generic email comes through, you've got a choice to make. You can either let a machine dictate your worth and ruin your week, or you can hit delete, stand incredibly firm in your internal ledger, and permanently reclaim your mental autonomy. The dark days of outsourcing your identity are officially over. It's time to step into your power. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. Keep building that unshakable mindset, and I'll see you next time.